Well, howdy there, folks. I'm a Helping Hands, and I'm going to go over a build order for the new American Battlegroup commander, which is the Heavy Weapons Battlegroup. Let's get into it. Don't worry, guys, I won't be speaking like that for the rest of the video. This new battle group is the Heavy Weapons Battle Group. You can select it over here once you've bought it. And it has access to things like the 50 cal, rapid reposition, gallant stand, some nice off-map artillery with Black Dragon artillery barrage, bolstered weapon teams. You've got the assault carriers, have half-track strong points, exchangeable parts, M26 Pershing tank, and also the brand new, never before seen in Company Heroes 3, or just Company Heroes franchise in general, which is the M5 3-inch anti-tank gun. So, first off, what you want to do for your build order is that you want to get 2 scouts out. And the reason why you want 2 scouts is these guys are going to be your vision. They're going to be scouting ahead for you and giving you a lot of vision for your machine guns and, you know, for things that you want to bombard later on with your half-track build that you're going to be going into. So you're going to send these guys out and be capping the territory. You want to be getting their utility package upgrade so that you can smoke potentially enemy machine gun positions like so, or giving yourself vision with the recon flare. Once again, to give you some vision over your opponent's area on the battlefield. And then once you get your second scout squad out, you'll also want to be doing is probably going for a barracks first. And then with your first manpower, you probably want to get a rifle. And then push out on the battlefield with that. Next up, it depends on what your opponent is doing. If you notice a lot of machine guns, you probably want to get yourself a mortar out next to bombard them. Next will be another rifleman squad. And then what you'll do after that is you'll be going for the weapon support center. And what I like to do here for the weapon support center is you'll be going for the M1990 machine gun. And by the time you've gone for this, you should have enough. You should have the one command point available to convert this M19 to a 50 cal. So you'll go by that. Then you click on your squad here. Obviously, you have to be in friendly territory, and you need 75 munitions to upgrade it. But then you'll grab it, I'll upgrade, and now it'll be a lot better against infantry and light vehicles. Love this machine gun. It sounds awesome. Much better with suppression and getting suppression on bigger groups as well. So there we go. And then let's say if you're up against Wehrmacht, guys, I would highly recommend probably just getting yourself another machine gun out and then upgrading that. And so you got 2 machine guns. But if you're up against stack, you'll probably be up against maybe a 250 or the motorcycle earlier on in the game. So you might, before going for the machine guns, you might actually want to go for the bazooka squad first. So if you're up against a player that's utilizing a 250 very aggressively, get the bazooka squad out so you can counter that. Especially because the 250 might try and get behind one of your machine guns, and having the bazooka squad there will stop maybe players, make Axis players think twice before trying to dive around back of your machine gun. So a bazooka squad is nice there. And then what you want to do after this is you would be wanting to go for the assault carriers. And then you can't build the assault carrier just yet because you need to get a support center upgrade from your HQ. So I would recommend here going for Mechanized. The reason why I would pick Mechanized rather than anything else is because playing Americans, you don't have access to engineers straight away. Every other faction, if you're playing Brits, you're playing DAC or Wehrmacht, they all start with kind of an engineer, right? Whereas Americans don't because they start with a scout. So you kind of need to go Mechanized because you can get access to the designated forward repair station. So if you're playing on this map we're on right now, probably a good idea is probably put it maybe on this point here, for instance. This is free first time you do it, and you get 4 engineers here, and then you can bring any vehicle that gets damaged back to this area for repairs. Then, what you'll be doing is you'll be getting your half-tracks out. Now, with these half-tracks, you could put your bazooka squad in the back of them, which is quite handy here, so you can have like a mobile bazooka squad going around shooting enemy vehicles and things like that. But maybe the half-track is fairly fragile, it's quite squishy, so you got to bear that in mind. And depending on the situation, what I generally like to do is I like to get the 75 anti-tank gun conversion. And I also like getting myself another half-track as my second one and making that a medical conversion. Now, depends on your teammates. If you're playing with teammates that might already have their own medical vehicle out or they've made a forward healing spot, you might not need to worry about going for this. But if you haven't got a teammate that's doing that for you, you probably need mobile reinforcement yourself on the front lines, and this is kind of a nice way to constantly keep your troops alive. And also, let's say if your machine guns get decrewed, you can use the recruit weapon ability on the right-hand side over here to pick those weapons back up fairly quickly.
Where to, sir?
And the reason why we like to go for these 80 half-tracks is because not only are they very good in all aspects of the game against any kind of armor, even if you're up against like a tiger or something, the 75 gun has a good chance of penetrating like tiger armor and things like that. It's so you'll be great, you know, when it comes out, it'll be able to counter any kind of like light vehicle that comes out right in the start of the game. However, it is very vulnerable to infantry with AT weapons like Panzerfaust, the Jaegers with maybe a Shrek or the AT rifles and stuff. So you've got to try and keep your distance. But one of the greatest things about this is that they have a free high explosive barrage ability that they can do, and the barrage range is quite large. It's quite, the range is quite long, as you can see here. And this is a great way to counter enemy support weapons. So let's say and then in conjunction with your scouts, so let's say if you have a scout, let's try and demonstrate this real quickly. So if you've been playing well with your scouts, they should already have Vet 1 by now, because when they cap territory, they passively gain veterancy. The upgrade I'd always get with the scouts is the stealth reconnaissance upgrade. And then what we'll do over here is I will spawn in some Axis forces real quick. So what here you'll do is you can have your scout squad. You could drop their flare to get vision. Or what you could do is, what I like to do is press V, and they can cloak and move while cloaked. And this way we can get the squad forward, we can spot the Axis enemy position, like so. And if we click on this pack gun, we can see its range is up to here, right? But if you look at these 80 half-tracks, they can actually shoot much further. So they can shoot like a good distance away out of the range with their barrage range here. So we can use this, then we can bombard straight onto this pack gun here, and generally you'll be able to get maybe the first barrage off before the Axis player has a chance to react. And if they do stay there for any length of time, they're going to be in trouble. And this will also force them to reposition, and as they're repositioning, that's maybe the time then to push in with your infantry to finish off the pack gun, or maybe it's the machine gun. It'll force the machine gun to reposition if we target the machine gun instead here. So that's what I like to do. I like to get a few of these. So ideally what I end up doing is maybe getting something like 3 of these. And because this commander doesn't really rely, you haven't really got that many off-map barrages until you get later on with the Black Dragon Hunter, you're generally going to have a lot of munitions available to go for these upgrades here. Now, you could argue, why don't you just go for a motor pool here, and then buy the half-tracks here, and you haven't got to worry about the munitions cost? Well, because the munitions is generally, you're not really spending it that much, apart from maybe mines, you can afford to get away with investing in going for the half-tracks from here and then converting them over. Also, you've got to bear in mind the motor pool does cost a considerable amount. So if we just delete this motor pool, it is costing 45 fuel, right? Where I would rather save that 45 fuel and invest in the tank depot and get that out afterwards. So this would be the next set of tech afterwards. So once you've got maybe the 380 half-tracks, maybe a bazooka squad, you might even think about maybe, it depends on your, how much extra manpower you might have. You might even want to go for a second bazooka squad and then going for the improved M9 rockets on them. And the bazooka squad, once they get the veterancy 1 as well, we'll give them vet 1 right here. They've also got the ability to do the white phosphorus rocket, which is very handy, also against support weapons. So if you've got an annoying machine gun, you can just drop this onto that machine gun's position. Get the scout squad forward, spotting here. Look at the bazooka squad. And then we see the machine gun, we pop the rocket in here. There we go, then we blind that machine gun, and then obviously if they stay there, they're going to take more damage, and that gives you a chance to push in and be aggressive. So that bazooka shot for 35 munitions is very handy. Got to bear in mind though, the bazooka squad is fairly squishy. They aren't very good against other infantry, so you need to make sure that you're only really fighting against vehicles with them. Also, if they are stationary for a short period of time, they actually gain more range. So this is the standard range they get at the moment. Wait for that circle to go all the way around, and then they can shoot up all the way up to there a little bit further. There you go. So once you've kind of got this kind of general build down, you'll eventually want to maybe go for your standard Sherman. If you're up against a lot of support weapons again, you might want to go for the bulldozer, but because you've got the 80 half-tracks for barraging, you'll probably be wanting something maybe more like a standard Sherman. And then with the what you want to do with the Shermans is you want to be probably going for the M4A1 conversion to give them the better gun. And what also you want to be doing for your commander choices here is so you go for the 50 cal upgrade first, then for the half-tracks, and then you probably want to go for the exchange parts, because this gives you the ability for free to change over any of these 80 half-tracks to whatever you might want at any one time. So you could say, hey, maybe your opponent's going Luftwaffe, you need to be able to shoot down planes. Right, bang, I'm going to convert one over to a quad, and we'll shoot down all the planes. Or maybe there's tons of loiters that have been deployed by a lot of Axis players at once. You can turn them all over to quads real quick, and then you can, they'll shoot all the planes down, and then after a few seconds or a minute or so, you can then convert them back over to the AT half-track variant. So it gives you a bit of flexibility here, which is quite nice. Or you can maybe you don't need the medical half-track anymore. You can convert it over to the AT variant. It's quite nice with being able to swap in and out. Maybe you want the carrier back or whatever, so you can put troops in. Maybe you want to do a quick evac of something of your troop that might be suppressed. Convert it back over to this half-track variant. So they get a bit suppressed. We can throw the half-track back in here real quickly before hopefully they get pinned. We can throw them into the vehicle, and then that way we can get them out. We haven't got to retreat them off the battlefield because we just picked them up with the half-track instead. So nice lot of flexibility there with this kind of exchangeable parts commander choice. Now, what I have found in my play sessions so far, it does feel like it takes a long time to get the Pershing, right? You'll probably have at least maybe 2 tier 4 units, so you probably maybe have 2 Shermans or maybe a Sherman and a Hellcat or something, way before you might have the command points for the Pershing. But the Pershing is an absolute heavy hitter. It's very good. And you'll notice that with all these units on the field as well, you'll probably be population capped. So it costs 20 pop, and we're currently 88 pop out of 100. So you might need to lose something. So you might need to throw away maybe one of these half-tracks at some point to free up the pop cap. It's probably better throwing away maybe a half-track rather than your infantry. One thing I want to note is that the scout squads especially, these are super hard to replace in the sense of their veterancy. Early game, it's very easy for them to get the veterancy because they can cap it through all the neutral territories, right? But if you have to rebuild them, for me, I found like it takes forever for them to get another veterancy point, and they're super squishy, and they can hardly try and get that first level of veterancy if you have to replace them, and you can't really afford to lose them, to be honest, because their stealth reconnaissance is just so handy, and that's why you want 2, because when one retreats, you might need another one on the field, so you've got a bit more utility there. So if I were you, I'd probably maybe afford to maybe throw away maybe an 80 half-track or 2 to be able to call on the Pershing if you have the resources, because they're definitely the Pershings are definitely worth getting out. I wouldn't want to throw away maybe a Sherman for it, or your core line rifles, because again, they're very good once they keep their veterancy. Maybe you could throw away the mortar potentially later on. Doesn't get as good utility potentially. I know its airburst ability is very good against a lot of units clumped up, but it might become redundant later on in the game. And if you can maybe get rid of it just to get yourself the Pershing out, I would do so. So let's just get rid of that mortar real quick. Even with getting rid of the mortar, we can't afford to get the Pershing out. So let's just get rid of one of these half-tracks. Delete that. And now we get the Pershing out.
NM-26 Pershing is entering your command.
Now the Pershing is very good. Nice heavy hitter. You'll probably be wanting to get an engineer with your Pershing and give them the hazard removal package. That also, remember, increases their repair speed, so it helps you repair all these vehicles. Probably want to get the engineer out probably a lot sooner as well to help with repairing all the light vehicles. But yeah, Pershing, really good. Great against all kind of armor. And keeping in, when it gets more veterancy, it'll just get better and better. Has the HVAP shot, which allows it to shoot through terrain like buildings or maybe trees and stuff like that to be able to get a shot in. It's only 30 munitions as well. Then once that's all done, you'd probably want to go for maybe something like the Gallant Stand or Rapid Reposition. Doesn't really matter. But then I would probably look for something like maybe the Black Dragon Artillery Barrage. And the reason why you want to go for the Black Dragon Artillery Barrage is because you want an outlet for your munitions other than being able to put mines and things like that down, because not all the time you've got a chance with your one engineer to put loads of mines down. This is a great outlet for your munitions. And if we drop the ability down over here, you'll see that it has a nice wide spread of the area. First few rounds will land in the center, but a few rounds will land in a quite wide scatter around it. So it's a good way, if there's a lot of Axis forces kind of clumped up in kind of an area, this is a great ability. Especially as well, maybe like there's an 88 on the ground there and your opponent isn't quick enough to react to try and tow it away. This will be enough to try and take it out and blow it up. So pretty nice off-map ability there. So next I would recommend going for something like the Salvage Cruise, as you'll be able to salvage any wreckages on the field. So here you can see there's a wreckage of one of the half-tracks. We get 75 manpower and 7 fuel from that. And, you know, any other vehicles that might blow up, maybe a Panzer, you might have a chance to kill a Panzer IV, you could salvage that, and that, you know, helps your economy. So that's a nice upgrade there. Also, improvised armor, your half-tracks will get increased armor along with other vehicles as well. So that's a great kind of like an upgrade to get there. And also the rapid repairs. Increase the repair speed of your repair station kind of thing, and also it'll no longer cost manpower. So I'll get it right now. You'll see that it's 100 manpower there. When I buy it, bang, it's now free to pop this on other points. You can only have one though, so if I make this one, so this is the one here, we pop it over here, you lose that one, and you know it's now over here. I guess this is kind of handy still because you might swap to the different side of the battlefield and you might need repairs somewhere else. So you know, that kind of useful there, and also you know increases your repair speed as well. So kind of acts as like your second engineer squad, which is quite nice. And also your teammates can come back in, repair off it. One thing I want to mention with the AT half-tracks as well, guys, is that when they get Vet 1, they'll have access to target weak point. I highly recommend getting that one because this is a great ability to catch Axis tanks out of position and slows them down, allowing you to kind of like knock them out fairly quickly. Here we'll have a Tiger tank versus these 380 half-tracks. You'll see, you know, if we constantly use the target weak point, we can have a good chance of maybe possibly killing this Tiger or at least crippling it to forcing it back. So we'll have the scout forward here to give us vision on the Tiger's location. Tiger will have on attack move going forward here. Here we go. So we'll pop first ability here to like kind of just disable the Tiger. We'll pop another one on to keep that kind of debuff in effect, and then another one going in here to keep it going. This way, we basically stop the Tiger from being able to respond at all. And you can see, Tiger will take 2 shots to kill us, but we can back away, we can rotate in and out here with these vehicles to keep getting the damage in. And yeah, just like that, we can pretty confidently kill a Tiger. Bear in mind, that ability does cost 30 munitions each time you pop it, but, you know, spending 90 munitions to kill a Tiger, 100% worth it. So this is kind of good case use of the AT half-tracks against maybe something bigger, heavy like a Tiger. So there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that build order, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Take care. So guys, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and want more content, check up over here and over here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the button down here. Catch you in the next video, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.